Okay. One of the perks of doing this is introducing people who I look up to and Kathy looks up to and bringing them to a larger group of people. And we're certainly happy that they said yes, and Leslie is certainly one of them. The unfortunate part is we have to say goodbye at some point, but we're going to say hello again shortly. I know we're going to invite Leslie back, and the same would go for Ralph and anyone else who serves with us. So, on the last evening of her latest run, I give you our friend Leslie.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor. It's been eye-opening for me. Thank you, Howard and Kathy. I'm sorry, I have a little head congestion, as you can probably hear. So forgive me for being a little off, but thank you for the honor. My name is Leslie Strange. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and the reason I say recovering is because the day's not over yet. That's just so some of you nitpickers will know. I'm a recovering alcoholic. My name is Leslie Strange, and my sobriety date is November 2nd, 1988. And I'm broadcasting loud, live, and in color from Los Angeles this time. So thank you for joining us. We're going to resume on page 67, the second paragraph, referring to our list again. Referring to our list again. Putting out of our minds the wrongs others have done, we resolutely looked for our own mistakes. Where had we been selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, unfrightened? Though a situation had not been entirely our fault, we tried to disregard the other person entirely. Where were we to blame? The inventory was ours, not the other man's. When we saw our faults, we listed them. We placed them before us in black and white. We admitted our wrongs honestly, and were willing to set these matters straight. I'm going to stop there and discuss that, because the next section, for those of you, and I'll leave that to the next person, I think it would be more fitting for the next person to do the fear portion. And I have 24 minutes to talk about the inventory overall, these last couple of weeks, and what's inclusive in this paragraph. I got sober when I was 28 years old, and I heard a lot of things. I've heard a lot of things since I've been on this journey for 36 years. I've heard a lot of different ways to do the inventory and where to put what, and it's not my part and it's your part. And we as human beings, we're just human. We start nitpicking and looking at the minutia, and if you don't do it like this, you'll get loaded. And and I've heard a lot of things. But what I've also learned is how to be open-minded and how to be flexible for somebody that it may work for them. Why does it have to be the way that I was raised in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous? Why does it, you know what I like to, and I'm going to talk about this paragraph, but stay with me. You know what I like to compare it to? How many people fold their towels trifold? You've got 3 and you fold. How many people in there fold their towels with the trifold? Anybody trifold, and you put them all in your linen cabinet like that? Now, how many people fold it in a big half so it's a big flat half? How many people do that? Who's wrong? Oh, or better yet, right. See, Harold and Kathy are gonna have to fight after the meeting, but yeah, and how many people squeeze the toilet? Let me squeeze the toilet paper. Put the toilet paper on the thing where it comes off the top. That's a big one. Breaks up more divorces behind that, right? As opposed to it coming out from under the bottom. You know what I've learned? I don't care, just as long as there's toilet paper. In fact, I'm so trifling with it, I'll leave the toilet paper sitting on the sink and won't even change the cardboard. Come on now, let's get real with this. What am I saying? I'm saying the purpose of all that we've talked about these last 4 weeks is to clear a little space for the sunlight of the spirit to come in and plant itself in your soul space. Because remember, in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it talks about I suffer from a soul sickness. There's something that's broken deep down inside. And I don't know if I was born that way, or if I had a little crack and the events of my life has made it broken wide open. And what happened, I don't know. All I know is I have it. And it has come out in the disease of alcoholism. It has come out in the disease of my defects of character. It has come out in the dis-ease of fear, feeling a threat when there's nothing to be afraid of. And it's also come out in the lack of faith in something greater than me. So what do we do with all of that? Yeah, the world is full of people like that, but they don't use alcohol and drugs and whatever their favorite thing is to cure that. They may be sick in other ways, but this disease has its own prescription. Now I have a code. I didn't have to go to a pharmacy, to get a prescription, but Ralph was so kind as to make sure I had something to take. And he was like, on me, take it every 4 hours, take it every 4 hours. And then I followed his direction finally, and I feel much better. It's just all in my head today. The prescription until you run out. Some of y'all on high blood pressure from medication. You ain't taking it like you're supposed to, wondering why you feel woozy in the head. So this is our prescription. I think I nailed that home a little bit. I figure you feel that right now. Yeah. If you're going to give me a prescription that make me do better, see better, feel better, think better, love better, be the better me, be the best version of me, why wouldn't I take that prescription? And this fourth step is so, it's not just the fourth step, but it is the beginning of carving out a new niche on life, a new way to live and to think and to see and to feel. Excuse me. So it says, referring back to our list, what list are we talking about? For those of you who don't know, it's prior to this. We've got our 3 categories. I'm just going to say in general how I see it. If you don't agree, if you're doing the George Washington's big book study that happens every Wednesday, do George Washington's. I don't care who you do, just do something. But this is how I see it. I put down the person, institution, and principle with whom I'm angry. A lot of us are going through a lot of political upheaval. Yeah, I'm saying it right here on this form. This is the best place to see it. You got a resentment, put it in column 1. You got a resentment against the them and those and they and these, put it in column 1. I have a girl with 36 years working on an inventory on institutions right now. She didn't even realize that she had those kind of resentments. Why? Because it's going to clear her way so that she can be free of the bondage of self and fear. So the column 1, you put that in there. Column 2, what it is. Real simple. Let's knock it down. Column 3, we got 7 areas. I got to go back. Howard and Kathy, stay with me. I got to go back. 7 areas. This is my thing right here, this 4th step. We got 7 areas that I was affected. If you affect my money, my ambitions, which are my goals, see, my ambitions with Kathy and Howard, I'm going to keep referring to y'all, is to be their friend. So if you affect my ambitions, then my goal is to be their friend. My goal is to get appointed. If you mess with my ambitions, which is goals, my personal relations, my sex relations, my pride and ego, they kind of go together, my security. 3 different types of security for me. You either messing with my physical security, my emotional security, or my financial security. Them 3 right there. Old black lady used to say, you mess with any one of them, I'm going to shoot you in your foot. So this is what I'm talking about. Y'all woke? You wake? Wake up. Wake up. We up in here. You got me up in here with a cold. Better laugh. And so we got that 3rd column. And then now here's the bedevil's 4th column. Now you'll say, oh, Leslie, how come Miss Leslie, it ain't on that thing that Bill illustrated? He just has in brackets fear. Y'all talk about fear next week, but I'm going to give you a little sneak preview. Anytime that I am angry enough or I feel hurt or damaged, remember, it's not just about who I'm mad at. That inventory is for people that felt like they harmed me too. So you get to gripe and bitch. You get to moan and groan. Val, you get to put down that man that abused you and you didn't do nothing to him. You get to put down that girl that stole your money and never paid. That girl that stole the man that abused you and stole your money. Whatever it is, you get to put them down because it said in that book, it says, were we hurt or threatened? See, people are so stuck with resentments. Let me tell you what I discovered in my contemplative abyss in my brain. Resentments wear off from me. If I don't see you out of sight, out of mind, I ain't mad at. Oh, let me pick on Maureen. I ain't picked on her today. Hi, pretty lady. I ain't mad at Maureen, so I ain't got no resentment. But Maureen pops up on a Zoom meeting I'm in, and all of a sudden I'm looking at her, I'm like, ooh, yeah, I remember last week I didn't like her because her hair was so pretty and she looked all put together. Ooh. So it comes back. Sometimes resentments fade away. They're not as intense because I'm not in it right now. Even with a person I live with and I see every day. So what do? Rob, we put in people that hurt and harmed us too. Okay, so you got those three. You got the. Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me a resentment? What did we say a couple weeks ago, class? We said resentment is just nothing but inverted fear. If I'm mad, it's because I'm scared of something. I'm gonna lose something. You're gonna think about me. Something you're not gonna think about me. Something you're gonna take away. What you gonna go and talk about me? You're gonna go talk about me. Although I've talked about other people, but that's not the point. The point is, so I'm sitting up here with these resentments. And what's so deep about it, when I came into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, I didn't know that's why I was drinking. I had no clue. They brought me in, said, we'll help you with your drinking issue. I'm like, cool, good. And then they said, but you got to do some writing. I'm like, what kind of class, elementary school 1+1, schoolhouse rock is this? Now I got to sit down and do some writing. But this is why I'm writing, because in the psychology, and I just want to share this with you. God, I got so many experiences. I had a girl that's wasn't very literate. She didn't comprehend. Beautiful handwriting, didn't comprehend jack. I don't know if she was raised that way or what. This inventory can be done so many different ways. Some of you guys do an inventory by going to your priest at the Catholic Church, your 9th step, your 8th step, whatever. I invite you, but to sit on this garbage and wondering why it's stinking, and you haven't changed the bag or took the trash out. Ladies, I know how y'all know. Y'all like me. You go on vacation, forgot to take the trash out, come back, first thing hit you in the face, bam, oh, the trash. Well, that's what's inside your soul if you have not done an inventory. If you've not ventured down that dark path and taken that trash out, baby, you're going to have some stinking insides, and you know that ain't sexy. So this girl, she couldn't really get it together in her mind. And I'm pushing, I'm wondering, and Spirit gave me the idea, said, get with her face to face. We go somewhere face to face. I had to ask her a question, put a name down. Do you have somebody that hurt you or you resent? Yeah, put his name down. Then the second column. Okay, so what did he do? She tell me, I'll say, okay, we're going to abbreviate that. And I tell her what to write. By the time we finished, let me tell you about being open-minded, friends. By the time we finished with me probing her and asking her every column, we had done a fourth and a fifth together. Don't tell me there's only one way to this thing. We had done a fourth and a fifth. I've given her defects and I've given her a list of who to make amends to all at one time. It was arduous. It was long. It was tedious. It was like, oh my God. When we got through, I cried. She's like, why you cry? I'm like, when she got through, I cried because she was able to complete something that we thought would be impossible. So the fourth column, we're going to talk about. We refer back to our list again. I'm coming back to that other part. They're facts. And we looked at what part we played. Was I selfish? And it says specifically, where had we been selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and frightened? Now, no, it is not on Bill's little his diagram. It's not on there. But he said what we refer back to our list. He didn't put that in there. Does that mean that just gets ignored? No. Does it mean that we just don't pay attention? No. My sponsor said if there's a question in the book, perhaps you should answer it. And so a lot of my women that I guess I call them adopted. You know, they've gone from one sponsor for whatever reason. They come to me and I ask them how. I always ask them, how did you do your inventory before? What did you do with your inventory? How was it written? Do you have a copy of it? Can you tell me? Please, if you're going to sponsor, ask them where they come from. Ask them what style they wrote in. What did they do? Find out who they are you're dealing with. And most of the time, a lot of times, I should say, I get the 3-column girls. Or I get the girls who do a resentment inventory with the 4 columns or 5 columns, whatever you call it, and they knew nothing about the sex conduct inventory or the fear inventory. They just want to, I'm finished with my inventory. We start reading, okay, where's your fear inventory? I didn't know nothing about that. So I've had to almost go in and show them, and I use this book who show them I'm just not pulling this stuff out my behind, that this is real, that it is in here. Although we don't have to go strictly by that, but I show them my style and I say, okay, here's the part. Where was I selfish? What about me? What well, how was I selfish? Well, how was I selfish when my mother was supposed to take care of me, but every time she got mad at me, she snatched the car keys from me and she put me on restriction and I really didn't do anything. How was I selfish? Because you knew good and well that if you did not do the dishes and do exactly to the letter what your mother wanted you to do, there were consequences. The other selfish thing, I'm giving you my example from my mom. You knew exactly who your mother was, so why wouldn't you adapt and be obedient? I could not deal with who she was, so that I had the reverse serenity prayer. I couldn't accept the things I couldn't change, which was her. I couldn't accept. I didn't have the wisdom, no difference. I was a kid. I didn't even, as I grow up now and I look at my childhood, I was selfish because I never knew how my mother was raised until I was grown. And I was able to see that she transferred to me what was transferred to her, which was transferred to my grandmother and so on. It was the times. My mother was born in 1940. She was a kick-ass, take names type of person. Now, of course, I wouldn't know that when I was 18 or 19, but as you grow up, and you get this real vision and you flip the lenses on your spiritual glasses instead of out looking at, yeah, I got my glasses on backwards. Yeah, you're looking out at everything and you turn them around and you put them on properly and you go, hey, I see the world and its people differently because I've assessed honestly as best I can. And I'm going to say this, the reason why you have a person doing a fifth with you, because I can't always see everything. I can't see all the things that are affected. I can't see my part. I can't see. So I need somebody. Guess what? Sandy, in it's Sandy IN. Listen to this, Sandy. I can't see my two ears. Cause anybody on here see their own ears? Yeah, don't be a smart ass and say, yeah, when I look in the mirror, I'm looking on the no, you can't see your own ears. That is why this all has to be done eventually with another party. Yeah, I skipped ahead, sue me, fight me, whatever. But so when we look, I'm glad somebody like that. So when we look back, where were we selfish, dishonest? That's a big one. Oh my God. Let me tell you about my dishonesty. I always thought dishonesty was just lying to somebody else, right? I just told you a blatant lie. Dina, I was going to the store, but I forgot my keys, so I didn't go to the store. No, I stopped over at the boy's house and left my keys at the boy's house. Say Dina's my mom or something, my sister or something, make up some. But dishonesty. When did I lie to myself about the person, place, or thing or situation as being who and what it was? When did I lie to myself? I'm going to tell you the story about dishonesty real quick. Stay with me. It's so sexy. So there was an alligator and a scorpion. If you know the story, don't say nothing. It was an alligator and a scorpion, and they wanted to get across the stream, you know what I'm saying? And the scorpion and alligator were looking at each other, and the scorpion said, hey, you know what? I can get across the stream, but if I go by myself, I'll drown and die. Can I jump on your back? And the alligator says, heck no, man, you a scorpion. I ain't, no. You can. Scorpion said, I won't. If I sting you, then I'll die too. So I promise you, I won't sting you. Can you just give me a ride? So they banter back and forth for a while, and of course the alligator gives in. Scorpion jumps on the alligator's back. Alligator starts navigating across the stream, and he gets over, almost gets to the edge of the stream, and the scorpion walks to the top of his head and stings him and jumps off. And as the alligator is dying, the alligator says, well, you swore you weren't going to sting me. And the scorpion said, well, you knew I was a scorpion. Come on now. How many times have we known that going over to that drug spot or going to get drunk with those people or going to get drunk was going to lead me to die? Some of y'all like to drive drunk because you like to challenge your intellectual prowess, dummy. But come on, some of us, oh, I shouldn't have. What about that? I shouldn't have went over there. Damn it, something told me. That something, which today we know is grace and God, something told me not to go into that spot and they bust the whole spot. That's something. So that's the dishonesty example. So when you're being dishonest, Leslie has to be clear. What did I really know the truth? And this is an internal thing while I'm writing. This is internal. And then we're going to go through the self-seeking. What was I looking to gain? Oh, I'm always looking to gain some stuff, baby. I've had so many transactional relationships. I've been gaining but losing at the same time, because anything with the word self in front of it is not of God. So today I don't want self-esteem and self-value and self-worth and self-confidence. I want esteem, value, and confidence. Come on, let's drop the self off of that. That was something I thought of. I thought it was brilliant. Don't tell anybody. But this is some of the stuff that goes through my head. I don't know what I am. I'm ADD. I don't know what I am. But you see what I'm saying? And then the third, and frightened, fear. Let's talk about this fear thing. I'm gonna put the book down. The reason why I left fear for the next person, I pray they do you justice on fear, because baby, remember I said resentment is nothing but a fear. Stay with me. Then what they did to me while I'm writing it, it may be painful. I feel like I'm in it. Remember when you're writing what they did, you're not reliving it. It's just something that you're putting down. Don't stop. And then if something is if that resentment is affecting all these areas, my pocketbook, my self-esteem, all of those are fear-based. Those 7 things, if you affect my money, it's because I'm scared you're gonna take my money. If you affect my self-esteem, it's because I'm afraid you're gonna think I'm not enough. All those things are fear-based. Check it out. Stay with me. So once again, recap. Resentment. Got 6 minutes. The resentment is fear-based. What they did to me is fear-based. The third column are all outcomes of being afraid. He so nicely gave us 7. Okay. My physical security. Oh, I feel I've been beat. I've been abused. So whenever somebody jumps up real fast, fear-based. I'm afraid. Baby, when we get to that 4th column, my part, I have a thing in me. Out of fear, I will lie to you. Out of fear, out of false evidence appearing real, I will lie to you because I'm projecting what you're going to do. What is going to be your reaction to what I do? You ever have that? Let's give an example. Let's go back when we were kids. You lied to your mom or your dad or whoever's your caregiver about something because you're afraid that if you told them the truth, they'd be pissed. But if you had a mom like mine that said, tell me the truth, and she'd still be pissed anyway, now you really don't trust nothing she says, right? So you're terrified to tell the truth. And I think that turmoil in your spirit comes up as an adult. So we lie at work, we lie to our friends, we lie about being grander than we are. Fear is the food that feeds the 4th step. Fear is the food that feeds the 3rd column. Fear is the food that feeds my part and my actions, my thoughts and my deeds. Fear is the food that feeds steps 6 and 7, defects and shortcomings. Fear, it says, I'm not going ahead, but I got to say this, is like a corroding thread. That sucker's running through every part of your life. That thing is the biggest demon. Bill said resentment is our #1 offender. You know, I'm going to have to talk to Bill because he didn't ask a black girl named Leslie Strange. But Bill, and I say black because that's just who I am. But anyway, I ain't scared. But Bill, why did you say fear is the #1 offender? Think about it. All the actions and reactions that I take is based on being terrified. Why? Because I'm not trusting in God and I don't have the courage to stand on the truth. I've lied so much to myself. I figure I gotta lie to you, and I don't have a connection to a power that helps me stay honest as long as I'm obedient to said power's principles. Y'all can rewind the tape on that because I was a little thick. See, the 12 principles are the characteristics of the God of my understanding. I'm going to say God. If you want to say higher power, hokey pokey, whatever, but I'm going to say God. And there are characteristics that my God is and that my God is not. Now, he gave us the natural instinct of being afraid. Yeah, he gave me that. So if I hear a car beep, my reflexes to move the car real fast, or I'll hurry up and catch that baby that's falling. That's natural, but it becomes warped with an alcoholic that suffers from alcoholism. Now I'm scared for nothing. I'm going to say this in closing. I got 2 minutes and 40 seconds. I was reading a book when I was in school, and it says, Why Zebras Don't Have Ulcers. Why zebras don't have ulcers. So, there's a thing inside of our bodies, and I'm not trying to be extra scientific, but it's called cortisol. Fact check me, cortisol. And it's a warning chemical that goes through our body. Some of you educated people are sitting there nodding off. Some of y'all that didn't have a GED, don't worry about it. I'm with you. So you nod and say, yeah, I understand. So cortisol is this chemical that goes through my body that lets me know, that gives me a warning, Will Smith, warning, you know what I'm saying? And warning that let me know that there is a threat. And so my body automatically, the cortisol level will raise up, and it'll make me fight, flight, or freeze. I'm saying that again for the back. Fight, flight, or freeze. So whenever I'm afraid, my body, excuse me, my body will let me know. So the zebra's at a lake and he's drinking water. Excuse me. And he hears a hyena. He hears something in the bush and he'll stop. And he'll look around. He'll wait a second. It's something within his body and told him there was a threat. This is how bad God, only a God could make this for me. He goes back and drinks his water. He hears it a second time. He takes off running and he eludes the whatever, the hyena, whatever that's chasing him. Why? Because he ran, because he was afraid. But for me, and this is my thinking, you don't have to share this idea with me, but for me, I have broken the leveler. See, when the threat is gone, the cortisol will go back down. I'll go back to calm and peace, and I'll be like, ooh, okay. But for an alcoholic who suffers from alcoholism, who stays afraid of everything and everybody all the time, for an alcoholic girl who's scared of everything, who's lived her life with the boogeyman, they talk about fear is the boogeyman. I walked around with somebody going boo in my life all along, and my mother and people and society and money and finances and all this stuff. And then I have to drink because alcohol worked. It worked with these resentments. It worked with these fears. It worked until it stopped. And then alcohol then abandoned me. Now you say I'm left with residue and garbage and stuff all inside of me. So now all of a sudden I'm scared. And if you just go boo, I'm scared. So I'm walking around with heart problems and thyroid problems and all kind of problems. And more importantly, I'm spiritually sick and I'm spiritually sick and I'm tore up and I'm walking around totally afraid of nothing. At the end of the day, it's nothing. That is why I need to clear this space. So when you have a guest, you clear a space for them to put their clothes in the closet and their stuff in the drawer so that this person can come and sit with ease. God wants you to clear a space for him to come in. God is the perfect gentleman. He doesn't come where he's not invited, and he doesn't stay where he's not wanted. He leaves the building. Now, are you going to invite him by making room for him to come in? Or are you going to end up like a zebra without an ulcer? Or are you going to end up being an alcoholic? Drinking. My name is Leslie Strange. I thank you very much for listening. I honor you guys and thank you for listening these 4 weeks.